I'm here at Offshore Europe 2015 with David Ramsay, who's the Managing Director of Kelvin Topset. David, I know you're launching a specific piece of software here. It's really new technology, sort of crossing boundaries here, and something that can be used in many different industries, but specifically you're targeting the oil and gas industry here. Can you explain just the technology you're using, David?
Absolutely, Stephen. What we've got here is a new app, and we're launching it here today at Offshore Europe. And what this does three things. One is it enables you to investigate in real time. It enables you to have an expert on site and to solve problems remotely. So anyone could be there at any time at all. So for example, if you had an incident on a rig or a problem on a rig, what you can do is you can get your expert there instantly. And you'll notice looking at this here, this is my picture, and just for the sake of the exhibition here, Ian there, who's the developer, he's on the other screen here, so we could talk live. So if this were offshore, Ian could be there offshore, and I could be here on the beach. An example of that, I did an investigation recently offshore. I couldn't go offshore, but what we could do is I could talk to the company offshore and look at a particular problem. And of course, what I can do, look at this, I can decide I want to sort of, make a mark on the screen here and say, can you look at that particular bit there? Ian can be doing something as well, and perhaps he would drop something on the screen for me. And we'll see that happen just now. So it really is a highly interactive program here. It's attractive, it's easy to use, and it works on different platforms. Ian's using an iPad across here. Look at this, I can move that around as well. Look, Ian actually developed, we could build a root cause analysis, we can do anything at all. I say I want to look at a little bit down here, and we can just do that. I can change the size of this, and it is truly interactive. So it does mean that we can have the expert on site immediately. Another example, not in this industry, but was in fact, we were working with companies working with pylons and wind farms. There was a problem in the north of Scotland, and what we had was the head office was down in another part of England, and the senior manager could in fact discuss with the engineer on site and save the cost of travelling up to Scotland. So it's highly interactive. It is a real cost and time benefit. And of course nowadays, Stephen, as you know, cost and time is absolutely so critical. So the downturn in the oil industry, in some ways this benefits from that because we can in fact cut costs down quite a lot.
And I guess you mentioned the cost factor, David, but also the fact that new technology is something that needs to be used more and more, I guess, in oil and gas and most industries. This is an example of you using new technology to save companies money.
Yes, it is using new technology, but you notice, look at the size of it, it's very smaller, it's an iPad. We're not talking like old technology, we need big heavy stuff to carry around with you. I mean, it's almost pocket size. It would go in an iPhone, it would go in other bits of equipment at all. So it doesn't have to be specific to a particular type of equipment. We can get it to run virtually anything.
And the technology to run something like that, perhaps if you're a remote location, David, I mean, what sort of technology, what sort of bandwidth and stuff would you need to run?
We're really just talking 3G or Wi-Fi if you've got it. And I mean, we were very conscious of that because you know that it's difficult to get bandwidth at times, and it's sometimes difficult to get the connection that you want. So we've made it as simple as possible and able to operate. So anyone can use it. You can buy the equipment in a shop, PC World, anywhere you like. We can set this up, and it's very cheap and cost effective to run. We license it out to companies.
As well as the cost of sending skilled engineers or skilled craftsmen out to remote locations, you've also got the savings to the company if it's a minor repair, perhaps.
That's a really good example, Stephen. We have looked at minor repairs, and what you can do is you can then go and you can actually photograph the equipment with your thing and say, could you turn that around? Can we look at the other side? So it could be your microphone there. We can look at it from the other point of view and say, can I see the other side of that? I can see what the problem is.
And how important is it for you launching this here at the first day of Offshore Europe, David, the fact that you've got so many oil and gas professionals here that they're basically getting a prime example to be able to launch it to professionals who could really use a system like this?
Yes, we chose to do it here because we feel it has particular significance for the oil and gas industry. We work in different industries. We work in explosives, railways, chemicals, shipping and such like. But if we're going to launch at all, really oil and gas would be the place to get started because there's no other industry has so many remote locations. We just think of the North Sea alone, but we work in the Gulf of Mexico, we work in Thailand, we work off Australia and such like. We can talk to anyone. For example, way before this technology was available, I did an investigation out in the Indian Gulf, and I couldn't really share it with people, but now I can. And the time and cost saving for that would be absolutely superb from us, that we can say, look, this is the problem, can I bring in other experts from another part of the world at the same time, live, right there, without me having to fly people out, which is impossible. I did one in Far East Russia at one point. We had to fly people from all across the world to solve the problem. We could have done it with this. Massive cost saving.
Cracking piece of technology. Thank you very much for explaining it to us, David. Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye.